Hi everybody, I hope you're well. Today I will read from a book titled Albert Frey, Inventive Modernist, edited by Brad Dunning and published by Radius Books and the Palm Springs Art Museum.
Frey House, A Swiss Perspective by Yves Behar. I came to be deeply moved by Albert Frey's work in my late 40s when I started visiting Palm Springs often. On those regular visits, I enjoyed mid-century architectural tours of houses that defined sheltered glamour made for the social life of Hollywood aspirants and the coronated. On one of these tours, something different happened. Instead of driving to see a house in the valley, our small tour bus turned on the steep uphill road to an architect's own home, Albert Frey House 2. Frey House 2 was small and narrow in some places, making for a tight dance between the visitors who jockeyed for the better photo. The mix of humility and simplicity was unexpected. One could immediately see Frey House 2 as a low-cost project for an architect who knew what he personally required. It was not the complex brief of a client wanting to impress their social circle. Rather, Frey House 2 was built to satisfy the needs of someone with a high degree of understanding of how small things in life inspire individual joy and happiness. After working in the office of Le Corbusier and his Swiss partner Pierre Jeanneret, Frey emigrated from Switzerland to the United States in 1930 at the age of 27. It is surprising that at such a young age, he was offered partnership first in New York and then in Palm Springs. But this speaks to his immense talent and vision from his early years as an architect. By the time Frey explored the site on which he would build his own home, he was in his mid-50s, and, having designed over 100 modern public and private buildings, had already changed the architectural landscape of not just Palm Springs, but all of California. Upon entering the house, I was immediately taken by the view. I learned then that when Frey House 2 was built, it was at the highest elevation of any house in Palm Springs. The walk or drive up to the house is steep and unforgiving, but the reward is priceless. The city glows at night, framed by the unforgettable beauty of the surrounding mountains. There is something very Swiss about not being afraid of the extra work it takes to build and live up there. Like many who have grown up on the old continent, I also relate to the feeling that living within a suburban city grid feels very foreign. The predictability, anonymity, and convention of American cities organized at 90-degree angles are odd to us Europeans. So, the unconventional location seems like the perfect escape for Albert Frey's last residence. The eccentric site was deemed crazy by the city planners in Palm Springs. Nevertheless, permits were issued. Thanks to the vastly deep connection between the house and its surrounding nature, one can conclude that only a naturalist would inhabit the site. Visual and textual links are immediately apparent in the choice of materials, which reflect the native plants and cactuses sprinkled within the moonscape of rocks and boulders. While it takes a strong belief in the context of the natural environment to execute an architecture subservient to its surroundings, it takes a lot of humility too. As a designer, I noticed the low-cost and yet highly experimental material usages throughout Frey's home. The blue-tinted corrugated roof was likely the most cost-effective approach of its era, and a second perforated layer provides both air cooling and sound insulation. tinted a pink color, the building's concrete floor reflects the surrounding desert's basin. Meanwhile, yellow curtains match flowers outside. And of course, the elephant in the room, a giant boulder, which required the exterior of the house glass and structure to be cut around it, sits in the middle of the building. Inside, the couch, bookshelf, and furniture are shaped around this large rock. A clear concern for not disturbing the rich environment, as well as the sparse material use, indicate to me Albert Frey's conscious effort to tread lightly on this landscape he so loved, providing us with an early glimpse at the possibilities of green architecture. The ultimate detail for me, however, is Frey's drawing desk that doubled as his dining table. A simple white wood laminate plane intersecting and ending into the side of the rock. It is easily my favorite desk of all time. My industrial design eye also couldn't stop noticing the highly considerate and original details. The stereo console customized in a cabinet accessible both from the couch and the bed. The light switch embedded in the boulder. The built-in storage to create space in the tiny 800-foot home. The overall effect of Frey House 2 interior is one of precision and customization, a purposeful machine built for living and working. What a relief it must have been for the architect to break away from the conventions of Swiss climate-driven materials, concrete and thick wood planks. In the California desert, lightweight structural materials that would be deemed flimsy in the Alps are possible, and while there is something liberating and American in the freedom to be eccentric and break conventions, the work ethic it takes to so precisely engineer every detail of the building's exterior and interior, in addition to the meticulousness and thoroughness necessary to find durable and cost-effective solutions, is very Swiss. Decades earlier, in 1939, Albert Frey and Loris Koscher created a concept for a house using aluminium, a then new material, for the entire structure and exterior surfaces. The material also gave the project its name, the Aluminaire House. The furniture was made of edgy plastic sheets, inflatable thermoplastic polyurethane, and other new-to-the-world materials. It was exhibited at the MoMA, and for me shows the insatiable pursuit of material innovation from the very first years Albert Frey arrived in America. As an immigrant and designer from Switzerland, I remember the very American acceptance of new ideas as a liberating turning point in my creative life. Yet, my Swissness remains the only way to make new ideas real, to explore them fully, to realize them with a high degree of consciousness and perfectionism. Much like a Swiss watch, Frey House 2 is highly personal, expressing a lifetime of experimentation and refinement. It works both functionally and poetically, and in both instances they are impossible not to fall in love with.
Ask for the book at your local bookstore. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.